I remember the beeping first, that soft, repetitive tone that tells you you're still here. What I didn't expect was to wake up and realize I'd lost more lying in that hospital bed than I ever had in my life. Not just time, not just health, but everything. My savings, my future, my marriage, all gone while I was sedated with wires in my veins and machines breathing for me. My name is Jacob Fields. I'm 39 years old. And before all this happened, I was the Senior Vice President of Operations at Revel Tech Industries, a tech logistics firm I helped scale from a boutique consultancy into a major player. I wasn't just some middle manager. My name was on our patents, our strategy decks, even the merger plans sitting on our CEO's desk. I had worked my way up from intern to executive. I was the guy who never missed a deadline, never turned off his phone, never took a sick day, until my heart gave out at 39. Stress, that's what they told me. Overwork, dehydration, the perfect storm of a body screaming for a break and a mind too stubborn to listen. I collapsed in the middle of our quarterly board call. I vaguely remember someone shouting my name, the sound of my headset hitting the table, and then blackness. When I came to in the ICU, my chest ached like it had been hit by a truck, tubes in my arm, oxygen line in my nose. The white ceiling tiles above me felt unfamiliar, even though I'd seen them 1,000 times before visiting others. But this time, I was the one in the bed, hooked up, vulnerable, alone. I looked around groggily for my phone. It wasn't on the side tray, the nurse noticed. "Oh, your wife had it earlier," she said with a gentle smile. "She said she'd step out to make a few calls. You've got a lot of missed notifications." I thanked her with a nod I barely had energy for. A few minutes later, she came back with the phone, wiped clean and neatly placed on a folded towel, like it had never been touched. As soon as I unlocked it, the screen lit up with messages, missed calls from my assistant, concerned texts from my team, a few well wishes from clients, but in the middle of it all was one message from my wife that stopped me cold. "I gave you everything. This is my turn now." That was it. No emojis, no context, just a sentence that didn't make sense until it did. My hand trembled as I opened my banking app. 0. I checked another account. 0. Our joint savings, the one we called our 5-year plan fund, the one we were going to use for a house or a second honeymoon, drained. Every account, even the emergency fund, I thought she didn't know the password to. Gone. I checked the credit cards, maxed out. Cash advances on 2 of them. A personal loan I never signed off on. Approved using our joint file. My throat tightened, not from the oxygen line, but from the crushing weight of realization. She'd taken it all. While I was unconscious, she was liquidating our life. I stared at the message again. "I gave you everything." No, she didn't. I gave her everything. Every late night, every bonus check, every conference I attended so she could finish graduate school without working. Every meal ordered in, every trip canceled, every raise signed over into our future. And now she wanted her turn. I hit reply, typed nothing, held my thumb over the screen. Then, slowly, I just tapped the thumbs up emoji. Sent. That was all I had left to give. Not because I was okay with it, but because I didn't have the strength to argue. Not yet. I lay there, staring at the ceiling again, the noise of the machines around me fading into a low hum. She had handled all the finances during the past year. It started with small things, reminding me to deposit checks, asking to manage our retirement plans. It felt like trust back then. Partnership. Now I could see it for what it really was. Setup. She waited for the moment I couldn't fight back, and she found it. The door opened again, a doctor walked in with a clipboard and a smile too practiced to feel genuine. "Good news, Mr. Fields. You've stabilized well. We'll be discharging you tomorrow." I nodded. "Thanks," I said softly. He patted my chart, gave a few more instructions, and left. I looked around at the quiet room, the pale walls, the polished floor. Everything was sterile, unfeeling, just like the world I was being sent back into. But at least now, I knew exactly what I was walking out to, and I wasn't going to stay down. Not for long. The car ride home felt surreal. I sat in the passenger seat, my body stiff from days of lying still, my chest still sore with every breath. I should have been grateful to be out of the hospital, to be breathing air that didn't smell like antiseptic. But as Ryan, a friend from work, helped me out of the car and up the front walk, that feeling never came. There was only a pit in my stomach, a knowing weight that something on the other side of that door had shifted beyond repair. "Sure you don't want me to hang back a bit?" Ryan asked, eyeing the front door like it might explode. I nodded. "Thanks, man, I've got it." He didn't press, just gave me a nod and headed back to his car. I watched him drive away before turning the key in the lock. The door creaked open to silence. Not the cozy silence of home, but a hollow, stripped kind of quiet. The kind you hear in an empty apartment just before a new tenant moves in. At first I thought maybe I'd walked into the wrong house. The rug was gone. So was the coffee table. The wall above the fireplace, where our framed honeymoon photo used to hang, was bare. My shoes tapped against hardwood, and the echo was sharp. Too sharp. I stepped into the living room, heart pounding faster than it had in days. The couch was missing. Not a different couch. Our couch. The soft gray one we bought together after that sales bonus hit. The throw blanket she always curled up in. Gone too. I opened the hallway closet. Empty hangers clinked together like wind chimes in a haunted house. My voice caught in my throat. I moved from room to room, faster now. The guest room, cleared. The bookshelf in the office? Half the books were gone, hers. The drawers in the bedroom were pulled open, contents gutted. I opened mine. Socks, t-shirts, still there, but hers, empty, as if she'd never lived here at all. The jewelry stand was missing. The framed pictures on her nightstand. Gone. I stood frozen at the foot of the bed. Our bed. But only my half had sheets left on it. I stumbled into the kitchen, hoping maybe she'd left some sort of explanation, something that made sense. That's when I saw the divorce packet. It sat on the counter like an unwanted house guest, its manila envelope slightly torn. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. The message had already been sent. I opened the fridge. 1 bottle of water. That was it. No eggs, no leftovers, not even that bottle of cheap white wine she kept in the door. I turned to the espresso machine, the one I surprised her with on our anniversary after she joked about needing real coffee to survive life with me. Gone, not even the empty box. A sharp ache bloomed behind my eyes. I walked to the hallway closet where we kept the safe. I bent down and punched in the code. Click. The door swung open. Empty. The savings bonds from my grandfather, the emergency cash, my late father's gold watch, gone, all of it. She hadn't just walked out. She'd erased herself, after taking everything worth remembering. Then I saw it, a note taped to the inside of the safe door. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." That was it. No signature, no explanation. Just a line so cold it could have been a threat or a prayer. I stared at it, willing it to change into something else, something human. But it didn't. It just sat there, smug and final. I stood up slowly, trying to keep my legs steady. My hands were shaking. Not from weakness, not from leftover meds, from rage. Not the kind you scream about. The kind that simmers beneath your ribs and makes you move with terrifying clarity. I pulled out my phone and started taking photos. Every drawer, every missing item, every empty space where a life used to be. I time-stamped everything, archived our joint bank statements, downloaded app logs. She thought I'd be too weak to notice, too broken to fight. But she made a mistake. She gave me time to breathe. After an hour, I finally sat on the floor, my back against the wall. The house felt like a crime scene now, and I was the poor bastard who just found the body. I stared at the ceiling for a long time before grabbing my phone again. Only one name came to mind. My sister. She picked up on the second ring. "Jake?" "Hey," I said, my voice hoarse. "You were right." There was a pause, then steel in her voice. "What did she do?" "She took everything." Silence. "Come stay with me, tonight. Don't stay there alone." I already packed what little's left. "Good," she said, because she just started a war. I looked around the gutted house one last time, breathing in the ghosts. She thought I'd be too weak to fight back. She should have waited to see me on my feet. My sister's spare room smelled like old books and lavender. It had a twin bed, a desk with a wobbly leg, and just enough floor space to walk in a circle. Humbling? Absolutely, but necessary. After everything, I didn't need luxury. I needed clarity and a place to stand while I rebuilt what she tried to bury. The first morning, I stared at the ceiling fan spinning above me and tried to remember who I was before I became the man with nothing. Somewhere beneath the betrayal, beneath the hollowed-out bank accounts and the silence she left behind, was someone who used to know how to solve problems. I just had to dig him up again. I made 3 calls that day, one to my employer to formally take medical leave, one to the credit bureau to freeze every line, and the third to an attorney my sister swore by, someone who handled ugly things with clean hands. Her name was Carla Mendoza. She didn't offer pity when I walked into her office, just coffee and a legal pad. "Start from the top," she said. And I did. I told her everything. The hospital, the message, the house, the missing money. She listened without interruption, only nodding when I paused to breathe. When I got to the part about the empty safe and the divorce packet, she clicked her pen and leaned forward. "She's been planning this," Carla said plainly. "No one moves that much money that fast without prep." "Can we prove it?" "We don't have to, not yet. We just have to find the first crack." And we did. Carla requested forensic reviews on all shared accounts. Within 2 days, we discovered transfers going back 11 months, always small enough to avoid red flags, but frequent. Some under the guise of business expenses, others masked as joint savings withdrawals. But there was one account she hadn't expected us to look at. My grandfather died 2 years ago. He left a small inheritance specifically in my name. It was meant for long-term security. I hadn't touched it, just left it sitting quietly under a different branch of my bank. She must have seen the balance once, maybe while organizing our taxes. Because 2 months ago, $42,000 disappeared from that account, moved into one of her business holdings. The kicker? That account was registered to my Social Security number alone, not joint, not marital. Carla smiled when she saw it. That's theft. And if she used those funds to secure new credit or open accounts, we've got her on fraud too. We filed everything: civil claim, criminal report, injunctions to freeze any remaining joint assets before she could bury them deeper. It wasn't revenge, it was survival. If she wanted a war, I was done playing the quiet husband. Back at my sister's place, I started putting things in motion. During our marriage, I let parts of myself go. The side hustles, the creative work, the freelance projects I once loved. All shelved because she said we needed stability. What she meant was control, and I gave it to her because I thought love meant sacrifice. Now I sat at that old wobbly desk, opening my laptop for the first time in weeks, and began rebuilding. I had contacts, former clients, design partners, even one executive from my old firm who messaged, "If you ever go solo, let me know." I let him know. By the end of the second week, I had 3 paying clients. Small stuff, branding kits, consulting decks, user flows. But I was earning again, and this time, the money was mine. My sister noticed the shift before I did. One morning, she brought coffee to the door and said, "Your eyes are different." "How so?" "They look like they remember something." And she was right. I remembered who I was when I wasn't trying to prove my worth to someone who never saw it. Of course, the flashbacks still came. Nights where I remembered her sitting across from me, arms folded, saying, "You're always working. Do you even know how to be present?" At the time, I felt guilty. Thought maybe I was chasing money too hard. But now, I see it clearly. She didn't want presence. She wanted ownership. She wanted me earning on her terms, living on her timeline. She called it partnership. But it was just leverage in disguise. One night, after sending off a project proposal, I got the call. It was Carla. Her voice was steady, but I could hear the satisfaction beneath it. "We've got leverage," she said. "The inheritance withdrawals tied directly to a fraudulent loan application. And that money funded the account she used to buy out the condo lease she's living in now." My heart thudded. "She's not going to see it coming, is she?" "No," Carla said. "But she's about to learn what quiet men do when they get loud, on paper." I hung up the phone, leaned back in the creaky chair, and smiled for the first time in weeks. Let her think I disappeared. I was just getting started. The courtroom was colder than I expected. Not physically. It was a well-heated downtown space with polished wood and gleaming floors. But in the way silence echoed off the walls, cutting through even the strongest facade. She walked in 5 minutes late, on purpose, like she always used to when she wanted control. She wore a cream blazer, sharp heels, and that same familiar smugness like perfume. And right beside her was someone new. He looked the part: Rolex, designer shoes, and the kind of haircut that costs more than my car insurance. I recognized the type instantly. Fast smile, empty eyes, and she clung to his arm like he was her trophy for surviving the villain I'd supposedly become. When our eyes met, she didn't flinch. She smiled, tilted her chin just enough to signal, "I'm winning." I didn't smile back. I didn't need to. The proceedings began, and for the first half hour it was all procedural. Dates, documentation, property lists. Then Carla stood and introduced the financial report, the one we'd spent weeks compiling. "We have identified a pattern of financial diversion over the course of 11 months, she said clearly. A deliberate and consistent siphoning of funds from joint accounts, including one inheritance account solely in my client's name, legally protected under a state law. I watched her expression flicker for the first time. She blinked, tilted her head, glanced at her lawyer. The smugness wavered. The judge leaned in. "Are you prepared to address the inheritance matter directly, Ms. Fields?" Her lawyer asked for a brief recess. Denied. She stood, cleared her throat. "Your Honor, I acted under the belief that all shared funds, regardless of technical account status, were communal. My husband was emotionally unavailable. I felt abandoned." Ah, there it was. Carla didn't blink. "Your Honor, we have medical records confirming Mr. Fields suffered a stress-induced cardiac episode due to overwork. He was admitted to the ICU and incapacitated. During this exact period, Mrs. Fields executed the largest transfers." The judge frowned. "Is that true?" She didn't answer. Her boyfriend shifted uncomfortably beside her. Then came the second blow. The documentation showing her use of my inheritance to secure a lease on a luxury condo. Carla laid out the paper trail in color-coded folders. She had even included a printout of the building's online listing, floor-to-ceiling windows, rooftop access, concierge services. The judge raised an eyebrow. "She used stolen funds for personal gain during her husband's hospitalization," Carla said, "and now she stands here claiming neglect." Her silence spoke louder than anything she could have said. The session ended with a warning from the judge about potential felony review. Her lawyer looked pale. She kept her head down as we left. But later that evening, I saw her again. It was a chance encounter, or maybe poetic justice. I had agreed to meet a potential client at a high-end restaurant downtown. As I waited near the valet stand, she stepped out of a black Escalade in a crimson dress. She tossed her hair and laughed at something her boyfriend said. She hadn't seen me, yet. When she did, her face froze. Only for a second. But it was enough. I didn't approach, didn't say a word, just held her gaze long enough for the color to drain slightly from her cheeks. She looked away first. That night, I got a call from Carla. "You're going to like this," she said. "Your wife's boyfriend? He has a bit of a history." Turns out he was under investigation from a prior divorce. His ex-wife had filed claims for financial manipulation, fraud, and theft. And now she was filing again, because he was repeating the pattern. Carla chuckled. "Guess who just got served at that condo she paid for?" I almost laughed. Almost. "She's about to find out that designer furniture and rooftop views don't pay for themselves when the foundation is stolen." It was satisfying in a quiet way. Watching it all unravel, her smug new life was built on borrowed pieces. My money, his charm, and lies told on loop. But borrowed things have a way of being reclaimed, don't they? The condo, under review for asset seizure. Her accounts, frozen. Her new boyfriend, disappearing act. She made a choice. She called it her turn. But what she didn't realize was that turns don't come without consequences. Not when they're built on deception. I sat across the street from that same restaurant a few nights later. Watched as she walked in alone. No boyfriend, no entourage, just her, and a shadow that followed her now, wherever she went. She always thought she was the smart one, the manipulator, the one who'd slip away with everything and leave me with nothing. But she made one fatal mistake. She underestimated what I'd do once I got back on my feet. She said this was her turn, but I don't think she realized it was also her turn to fall. The coffee's hotter than I like, but I let it sit in my hand anyway. Steam curls into the cool morning air, and the city stretches out in front of me. Glass towers, soft clouds, the quiet pulse of life below. My new apartment is all sharp lines and calm colors, minimalist, clean. Not just in design, but in spirit. There's no clutter here, no reminders of the life I left behind, just space and peace. It's been 6 months since the last court date, 6 months since I packed up my things from my sister's spare room and moved into this place. Top floor, corner unit, expensive but not flashy. Every inch of it paid for by me, earned by me, protected by me. No shared keys this time. Business is good, better than I expected. I started small, just a few freelance projects here and there. Now, I've got a waiting list. Clients refer other clients. Word spread faster than I could keep up with. Apparently, when you stop trying to prove your worth to the wrong person, the right people start to notice what you've always had. I've got my own company now. No one else's name on the door. I build strategies for startups, redesign user flows, troubleshoot broken systems. It's what I used to love before I got too busy chasing someone else's version of stability. Now, I do it on my own terms. No approvals, no compromise. Just honest work and quiet satisfaction. There's a soft knock against my sliding glass door. The mail carriers just dropped something at the front. I step out, barefoot against cool tile, and pick up the envelope. It's from Carla. I already know what it is. Still, I open it slowly, letting the moment sit. Inside, a final letter, neatly folded, with 2 crisp lines beneath my name. Divorce finalized. Full asset recovery granted. No spousal support awarded. I stare at the words for a long time. They're just ink on paper, but they land like closure, like breath. She avoided jail, barely. Her lawyer negotiated a deal. She paid back what she could, which wasn't much, and signed away any remaining claims. Her name no longer touches mine in any legal document, account, or property record. It's done. I walk back to the kitchen and place the letter on the counter, pour a little oat milk into my coffee. I sip and glance at the clock. No meetings until 10. The morning's mine. I grab a pen and sign the final document. The signature looks different now, not rushed, not stiff, just steady. I lean back and let the moment sink in. I haven't seen her since the last court date. Word is, she left the city, burned too many bridges, couldn't keep up the act. The condo went back to the landlord. The new boyfriend ghosted her when the money dried up. Last I heard, she was selling course packages online, pretending to be a relationship strategist. The irony doesn't even sting anymore. She tried to build a life on money that wasn't hers and trust she never earned. And when it all fell apart, she ran. That's who she really was beneath the polish. Me, I stayed, rebuilt, quietly, precisely. And now, here I am. My phone buzzes. A text from Ava. Hope your morning's going slow and strong. Don't forget, lunch is on me today. I smile. Ava's different. She asks questions and actually listens to the answers. She doesn't dig into my past unless I offer it. We've been taking it slow, on purpose. No rushing, no keys swapped, no passwords shared. Not because I don't trust her, but because I've learned that real intimacy doesn't require surrendering control. And honestly, I like having something that's mine, just mine. I text back, strong, slow, and signed, looking forward to lunch. I set the phone down and walk to the balcony, the skylines shifting as the sun rises higher. I look at the city and see what I couldn't back then. A future. She thought she took everything, the accounts, the furniture, the plans, the sense of stability. But she missed something. She never noticed the part of me that couldn't be emptied, the part that got back up, the part that worked in silence, the part that didn't need revenge, just a clean break and a better beginning. She took everything I had, except the part that rebuilt it all. That part, she never even noticed.